So Liverpool come away from a trip to face the Premier League champions at the Etihad Stadium with a point, a 1-1 draw in the end. Erling Haaland opening the scoring, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold cancelling that goal out late on to secure a point for the Reds. And I have to say, that is a good point surely for Liverpool coming away from Manchester City. You'd think they've been on a 23-game winning run at the Etihad Stadium. Incredible numbers, really. So to come away from there with a share of anything is absolutely incredible. And I thought a good performance, really, that merited a draw from Liverpool. I thought they kept with City throughout the game. I thought, City's only goal of the game comes from a mistake, really, from Liverpool. They'll look back on that with a little bit of regret. And I thought Liverpool really matched them in terms of playing and managing City's threat throughout the game and creating threatening moments of their own, even moments that didn't maybe lead to chances but were moments of real promise for Liverpool. They had a lot of those throughout the game. So I thought, not Liverpool's best performance ever, but I thought definitely strong enough to merit a point. So they'll be really pleased coming away from there with that, particularly because it leaves things as they are in terms of the title race. Obviously, Manchester City expect would be, if Liverpool are to be in a title race this season, that they'd be maybe the main competition for that. So to still be within a point with them at this early stage and not have to play them now till the Anfield game, where Liverpool will really want to make this point count, won't they? They'll go to Anfield, and if they can beat them there, that will take the 4 points out of those games for the whole season, and maybe that could be decisive in Liverpool's favour. We'll have to see. I'm maybe getting a little bit ahead of myself there, but as usual, I want to go through the performances one by one and talk about how everybody played at the Etihad Stadium, and of course start with the goalkeeper, Alisson Becker. Sort of an unusually mixed day for him, really. I think the goal, he'll maybe be disappointed because he gets a hand to it. But again, the fact he gets a hand to it is because he's such a good goalkeeper. I think most goalkeepers, it goes under the hand. It's a strong strike from Haaland, and one that most goalkeepers wouldn't save. So I think he'd be disappointed in that sense. But really, we're probably judging him too harshly to say he should have saved that. But I think his disappointment will come from some of his distribution. I thought a little bit messy at times in that, leaving it a little bit too late to pass the ball on, and obviously around the City goal, it's sort of he contributes to that with a poor kick out of hand. Now he's trying to pick out Mo Salah over distance, and we've seen him do that so many times. In fact, he's done it against Manchester City last season when Liverpool beat them at Anfield, but he gets it really wrong this time, and sort of that leads to City getting possession, and then they get the goal from there. But again, after a keeper makes a mistake like that, there's still opportunities for Liverpool to sort the problem out, and they don't quite do that. So I think Alisson shouldn't maybe be too harsh on himself in that situation. But even if some of his distribution was a little bit questionable at times during this game, he was maybe lucky with a couple of calls that go against him as well, or for him actually, in terms of City getting all over him. But I do think City's goal that gets disallowed, I think there's a clear sign that Akanji's got his arm on Alisson's arm, and that impedes his ability to get the ball, and we know that keepers are really protected in situations like that, so no surprise really that he was protected in that situation and he wins the free kick. I think where he will think about, as I said, is his distribution. Also, the major concern coming away from this game with Alisson is the fact that he appears to pull his hamstring in the final moments of the game, trying to kick a ball down the line. He gets that wrong and sort of seems to feel something. Obviously, Liverpool couldn't take him off because they had no substitutes left, but it looks a little bit like maybe we'll be seeing a lot more of Quivine Kelleher in the games going forward. You just hope that Alisson Becker isn't out for too long, because he's obviously crucial. Not his best game, as I say today, but he's such a crucial part of what Liverpool are doing. And so hopefully, if there is an injury there and it's going to keep him out, hopefully it's just a short time on the sidelines and we can get him back soon, because Liverpool absolutely need him. We know how vital he can be. Now, I move into the defence now and start at right back with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I mean, he's a player who inspires so much debate, and I think even going into this game, you knew it was going to be a tough one, didn't you, cut up against Doku? But I thought he actually handled that threat of Doku well. You can't stop a player with that at pace and trickery every time. It's just not possible to do that. So I'm sure there will be clips coming out of this game where it looks like Alexander-Arnold's been made to look a little bit silly. But I think that's going to happen to every single defender who faces him throughout this season. I think what Alexander-Arnold did very well was sort of limit what Doku could do when he got a bit of space. And I think he really, really managed him well. He worked well in tandem with either a midfielder, or when Salah would drop in, or a centre-half would come alongside him to support him. I thought that support that they got around Trent was really good, and recognised the fact that you can't manage Doku on your own. And then in the moments when he did beat him, is get back and try and make it hard to make the ball, make the good cross or make the quality ball across the box. I think that's something that Trent did really well on the defensive side of things. He just made things difficult, and there were actually a few one-on-one situations where he won out, which obviously City fans will instantly forget because that was a forgettable moment for them. But I think you need to hone in and really praise Trent Alexander-Arnold for those, because there was a lot of situations where he did enough to just get his body in front and defended really well. So I think we should praise him for that, because he doesn't get a lot of praise for the defensive side of his game. Now, obviously, I want to just finish up talking about Trent with the goal he scores. I think he should score more, really, with the quality he's got. Especially from distance, we know he can strike the ball. He maybe doesn't score enough for a player of such talents, but I thought he took that goal really well. It was in a tight bit of space. There wasn't much room for movement, and he gets to strike away with a short back lift. Really good finish into the bottom corner. He seemed to really enjoy it with his celebration, giving it that to the Manchester City fans. So really good performance from him, and I thought it was interesting after the game that Klopp mentioned the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold, there's so much debate about his position, but he wants to use him in a place where he can almost hide him and he can arrive into that midfield late. And I think this was supposed to be a huge test of Trent Alexander-Arnold as this inverted position he's playing. Well, I think he passed it with flying colours. Not perfect on the defensive side, but you're never going to be against a player like Doku. But very good as much as he was. I thought he was very good in that side of the game. And offensively, he gets a goal. He's so influential in terms of what Liverpool do in build-up. So I thought a really good performance. And it's telling he gets man of the match from Sky. I thought a really, really strong performance from Trent. So hopefully he can keep that going. Now, alongside him in defence was maybe a bit of a surprise pick there on the right-hand side of the centre-half. Joel Matip coming in instead of Ibrahima Konate, and I think, like I said, maybe it would have been considered a bit of a surprise when the starting lineups were made because Ibrahima Konate is back fit and available for this one. But I thought Matip, as has been the case all throughout this season when he's come into the side, has not let anybody down, and I thought he was absolutely excellent today. I've got some of his statistics here: 5 clearances, 4 blocks, shots, and I thought that sums up his defensive side of things. But I thought one of the things that he did that was really good and really encouraging was his ability to bring the ball out of play. So City was so pushed up in terms of their press and making it really difficult for Liverpool in build-up, and Joel Matip relieved that on numerous occasions, just bringing the ball forward. We know how good he is with the ball at his feet, and that really helped Liverpool get out quite a lot. So I thought a really, really good performance from him, particularly because he wasn't expected to start, and I think people have low expectations around him for this season as a whole, really. But I think Matip has been so good when he's been called upon, and today was really another good example of that. He's been a brilliant servant to Liverpool, hasn't he? Alongside him, of course, Virgil van Dijk, maybe less involved than Matip, because I think attackers tend to stray away from him, don't they? They don't want to be near Virgil van Dijk if they can avoid him, particularly when he's in this sort of form. But I thought everything he did really well. I think he's maybe going to get some criticism around the goal with it looks like he leaves Erling Haaland in too much space, but he's got Julian Alvarez right next to him, and he really has to think about that threat as well. There's 2 threats there, and he has to take a chance with a half position, and he obviously can't get there. And obviously the disorganisation that's there in defence, it all starts from that Alisson kick, and Liverpool never really get straight. So he shouldn't be criticised too harshly for that. And like I say, I thought he did everything he did well, and his passing out the back was tested at times and did quite well with that. So a decent performance from the captain, and he also leads that defence, doesn't he? And he did really well in that, because obviously to go to Manchester City and only concede once and come away with a draw, got to be kind of happy with that, given the form that they've been at home over the last, it's almost years. They are so strong there, aren't they? So go on to the man alongside him, another maybe a surprise pick, Kostas Tsimikas coming in. I spoke in my video when I picked a team for this game and said that maybe I expected Joe Gomez to start with this one, but instead went with Kostas Tsimikas, and again, that'd be one that maybe have people shrugging their shoulders and questioning why when the team news came out, maybe Joe Gomez a little bit more solid defensively. But I thought Tsimikas, much like Matip, much maligned by some supporters, but brilliant performance from him today. I thought he did really, really well coming in under great scrutiny. Nothing really came from down his side. I thought he managed Phil Foden really well, some really good moments from him, and he got up and down. He ends the game with a key pass. I think 3 interceptions in the end. So I thought a really strong performance from him. It was quiet down that left flank from him. I think City did focus a little bit on the other side, but when it did come to Foden, I thought he managed that really well and stuck to his task. He didn't look like he didn't stand out like a sore thumb defensively in the way that people talk about him. So I thought, Kostas Tsimikas did really well today, and as I say, under great scrutiny, because people say, Liverpool are missing Andy Robertson. He's a great player, But you've got a really, really good backup there in Kostas Tsimikas, and I try and stick up for him when I can because I think he's almost underrated in terms of his qualities. A really, really good performance from him today. Moving into midfield, another one who, again, I think is underrated and I will always stick up for is Alexis McAllister. So much talk in this game about how he's been a weakness for Liverpool in holding midfield, and you'd almost expect, if that was the case, that Manchester City, who I would say have got the most talented, the best midfield really in the Premier League, they would just walk past him time and time again. And yet the fact that didn't happen is sort of testament to him in terms of how good he is as a player. He's not as bad as people think by any stretch of the imagination. I've got a video on my channel if you want to seek it out, talking about his defensive numbers, how he shows up much better than you expect there. And I thought it was a quietly strong performance today that won't get focused on because there isn't a moment where someone's herring past him, but that's because he plays well, he positions himself intelligently, and also there's really good balance around him. I think that really helped McAllister today. I think the balance in midfield and the compactness of the team as a whole didn't mean that he had to fight fires. He didn't have a vast open space that he had to defend, and that's how football should work. You shouldn't be leaving him with too much to do, and he comes away from the game with 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 3 tackles, and also Liverpool's best passing accuracy, which is 93.2%. And I think, yes, he played it safe at times with some of his passing, but he also, some of the firing the ball through the lines got Liverpool on the front foot and was a key aspect of their attacking play in a counter-attacking sense. So McAllister really, for me, deserves a lot of praise for his performance today, and I thought, in a really tough test, he come out of it well. So, maybe people's minds will start to change eventually over whether he can play that 6, because I thought very, very good today. Alongside him in midfield, Curtis Jones coming back in after that hamstring injury, and I'm a big fan of Jones. I like the way he keeps it simple and he wins his challenges, but I thought today maybe lacked a little bit of rhythm coming off that injury. He's missed a couple of weeks, and I just think that maybe showed in his performance. I don't think he was quite at his best. His use of the ball wasn't fantastic, but you've got to maybe put that down to a little bit of ring rustiness, and he did help Liverpool stay solid. His positioning, as I say, was a big part of McAllister looking a little bit more protected than he has in recent weeks. So a bit more to come from Jones, but hopefully he'll get that as he gets his fitness back up after that injury. Alongside him in midfield, Dominic Szoboszlai. He had his moments in this game where he looked really threatening, but what I was sort of impressed by was the fact that he kept working. He really worked his socks off, and that's something you come to expect of him. I think there are moments where in games like this where you want more, but I think you're so limited against City. They make things so difficult for you that it's not a game where Szoboszlai is going to be able to charge through midfield frequently. There was one moment where he slips Nunez in with a really good drive forward, but it happens infrequently in games like this because they're so difficult. And I think the fact he was subbed off late in the game, I think that's because he's had an emotional and difficult international break with Hungary getting to the qualifying for the Euros. That was a big moment for him, and he put a lot into that. So maybe he wasn't quite at his best today, but I still think he's a hugely influential player, isn't he? We know how good he's been this season. So and as I say, he was as much as Jones part of that balance in midfield. So he definitely did his work on the defensive side of things. So not anything you can criticise him for. Not his absolute best performance, but by no means a poor one at all. Now I'm going to move into the forward line now and start with Mohamed Salah. I'm running out of things to say about this guy. Obviously, I think there's been the case over however many years now he's been at Liverpool, but in this game, he ends the game with 3 key passes. He gets the assist for the goal. He's just an absolute pain in the backside for Manchester City's defenders constantly throughout it. He doesn't really get a chance in this game, to get a shot away because City is so scared of him and he manage him so well. But what he does do then is, okay, well, I'll come short for the ball. I'll create. I'll try and be that player. And he, like I say, these numbers back up the fact that he sets a goal up. He gets 3 key passes. So he's just a brilliant, world-class, all-round footballer. And I think he showed that today, even if it wasn't a game where he was getting chance after chance and the chances to get a hat trick. He can still be so influential, and he also down that side is underrated in terms of his work rate. We saw that again today. Now move on to Darwin Núñez in the centre forward role. I thought first half, we saw a little bit of almost nerviness from him, a bit of uncertainty. The one thing that you would say about Núñez is that he's really decisive, even if he sometimes takes the wrong option. I think sometimes he preferred too much to maybe defer to Mo Salah and play the ball out. There's one moment that really sticks in my mind where there's a 3v3 and he's charging forward with the ball, and you can see he doesn't want to be the one who takes the shot, and he maybe passes it to Mo Salah. But again, I'm talking about someone who, not a poor performance from him. I just think there's a lot more to come from Núñez, and we've seen that this season. We've definitely seen that. I think he's been really, really good. but maybe we didn't quite see it in this game, and maybe that's the next step. Can he do it against the big boys? So hoping to see a little bit more from him, but again, like I say, not a poor performance. I just want to see more decisiveness in those moments. Maybe could he have created chances for himself a little bit better in this game and being the decisive player in it. I think we will see a lot more of that because he's still learning, he's still getting there. We've seen him already take such great leaps, haven't we? The final starting forward I'll go on to now is Diogo Jota. Disappointing end to things because he got an injury that's come off, a muscle injury. We hope that's not too long. Liverpool's attacking depth is so massive, so really hope that's not a lengthy layoff for him. But I didn't think this was a great game from him. I went in my starting 11 when I picked it with Diaz in that position, and I thought my reasoning for that was that in games like this where you're not seeing as much of the ball, Jota's not as great as progressing the ball up the pitch as Diaz. I think sometimes he struggles in those. You can get bullied off the ball a little bit in physical games like that where you're not completely dominating and penning sides into their own box. So and I thought that we saw a little bit of that from him today. So a disappointing game from him, I thought, and a disappointing end to the injury. But fingers crossed, it's nothing serious because he, not his day to day, but he's such a crucial player for Liverpool, and we've seen him play better than this time and time again. He's such a goal threat. So yeah, hopefully not a lengthy layoff for him. Now I'll finish up by talking about the substitutes. I think Jurgen Klopp uses all 5 substitutes and all impressive in their own way. I want to talk about Endo, Gakpo, Harvey Elliott, Diaz. Diaz in particular helps get Liverpool up the pitch, thought he did that well. I like Gakpo adding some physicality in midfield, and Elliott and Endo is so important in terms of seeing out the last few minutes and just adding some energy into that midfield again. I thought they both did really, really well with that. Put a lot of work into those final minutes, and that helped Liverpool get over the line. But the one I want to single out is Ryan Gravenberch. I thought, as I said, I thought Jones not really his greatest game today, and Gravenberch just really changed things when he came on. I thought he added a lot more threat to Liverpool in terms of the ball was just getting fired into him in pockets, and we've seen this so much in his Liverpool career already, and he can just run with it. He runs with it, gets away from players, creates space, he can fend them off, and then all of a sudden you're in at the back four and City are panicking. I thought we saw it time and time again from him today in that short cameo. Really, really, really liked his performance today. I thought, he making a case for the fact that, okay, should I be in that starting 11 now? Can I keep Jones out? Because that's going to be a really interesting competition between those two for that left-hand side in number 8. Jones, not his day-to-day, but we've seen a really good performances from him this season. I think Gravenberch just keeps coming, and today again, he just gets a little cameo, and I thought really, really good in that. So, as I say, some negatives to take away from today, but ultimately it should be massive positives. Liverpool are still up there in the title race. They've come away, they've denied Manchester City a win on their own turf, and a lot of decent performances in there. The one thing you hope is that not too bad news on the injury front. That's the thing we'll be keeping an eye on over the coming days to see if hopefully Liverpool can get away without anything too serious with Alisson and Jota, because they're in a really, really handy position. And you look at the fixture list ahead, Liverpool are in a good position there to get a run of wins together, and hopefully can they get themselves top by Christmas? We'll have to see how that goes. Please do let me know in the comments as ever who you thought your man of the match was, who impressed you during this 1-1 draw with Manchester City. And as usual, I'm going to ask you if you can please like and subscribe as well. It really helps in terms of getting these videos out there and making sure as many Liverpool supporters as possible can see them. So thank you very much for watching as usual, and I will see you soon.